All right, welcome back. Many thanks for staying with us after that heated sports debate. Let's now talk about other debates. And of course, it is a season of debates, bearing in mind various TV and radio stations have been holding debates across various levels to help Kenyans better understand what their candidates are offering this time round. But about a week ago or so, the Presidential Debate Secretariat held its first joint media debate. This was the Nairobi gubernatorial one on the 11th of July, 2022. And of course, a lot of feedback came out of that. Tomorrow, the second one will take place, the Deputy Presidential Debate at the Catholic University of Eastern Africa. And next week, Tuesday, the Presidential Debate will also take place at that same venue. And joining us to talk a bit about that is the President of the Kenya Editors Guild, Churchill Otieno. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Ego.
Thank you for making time for us.
Asante.
I'm going to be very blunt, Mr. Churchill. In a society where the political class seem to have very different rules from the rest of us, why should Kenyans take debates, especially the presidential and the deputy ones, serious at a time like this?
Usually, candidates offer themselves to serve. Debates are yet another platform for them to honor voters, especially, with a chance for those voters to then understand the platforms on which these candidates are running on. Kenya is a growing democracy, and in all democracies, people donate their sovereign power to individuals as they elect them into office. So debate is yet another serious platform for them to consider.
I know you're not a pollster, or maybe you have been in another life, but is there any research that shows the impact of debates on a race, with that to sway voters, to sway perceptions? What does your background knowledge show you?
I don't have that data. And when we create platforms for debate, that is not our objective, to sway voters. Yeah, that's not our objective. Our objective is to provide a platform for the people, for voters, to test and check what issues that the people that they would put on office stand on. If that ends up swaying the election one way or the other, is mostly a byproduct. But the more important thing is that leaders have to be accountable, and the way to demonstrate that one is willing to be accountable to the people, one way is by subjecting themselves so that their platforms can be tested.
Okay.
Yes.
Walk us through what it's taken to put together these debates. We saw the first one last week on Monday, another one tomorrow, another one in about a week's time or so. How long does one prepare for a debate like this? As from an organizing perspective, how many teams are involved?
We've been at this for nearly a year. Including just preparing and determining at what stage in the electoral calendar are the best most suited. And of course, one major issue that then came out there is that we don't have candidates until they are gazetted. Yeah, before then, it's just aspirants. But number two, the debates platform is being put together by the entirety of the media professionals and the media industry. So it's a collaborative work that brings together all the efforts and the institutions necessary to make sure that the Kenyan people have a credible evening with the candidates, depending on which race is being debated at what point in time. But closer to the debates themselves, we have nearly 400 people in the background working to make sure that that the voice of the candidate gets to the Kenyan people in a fairly credible and clear manner, if you like. Yes.
With the debate now set for tomorrow, these debates are organized by the media, but they are for Kenyans.
Yes.
How inclusive would you say the organizing of the debates have been, bringing in as many Kenyans as possible, whether in the types of questions that will be asked, in feedback from previous debates? For example, have you reviewed the debate last week and heard from Kenyans on what they wanted to better prepare you for the debate tomorrow?
Absolutely, absolutely. We are we are not mistaken, because we believe that the person at the center, the real guest on a debate night, is a Kenyan. It's not the media, it's not the journalist, it's not the candidate, it's the Kenyan, and especially that Kenyan who has chosen to be a voter. And for that reason, we try to find creative ways and innovative ways to make sure that the voice of that Kenyan comes into the room. And to help with that, we have a research team sitting in the background, crunching issues every single day, issues as they surface in various platforms, but more importantly, using scientific methods, then find out of all these myriad of issues, which ones affect the most number of people, which ones are likely to influence the direction that Kenya goes into the future. What kind of challenges are you likely to get? What kind of reality is the world going to present to us, to throw at us, so that these people that we put in office will then be required to lead and help us confront those issues. So that team then is able not only to support the moderators in terms of what issues and what questions might be useful, but also invite questions from the public. Last week, we did open various channels for members of the public to send us questions, and we were able to use, I think, 2 or 3 questions in the gubernatorial debate. We went back to the public, and we've been receiving lots of questions ahead of tomorrow's debate. And I know the research team will shortly be retreating to just synthesize those issues and see which ones are of issue. But based on what happened on Monday last week with the Nairobi debate, we feel, the coordinating team for the debates feels that the voice of the public needs to come onto the debate floor a lot more strongly. And we are likely to see that come in reality in tomorrow evening as the running mates debate.
So I actually had a panel here an hour or so before you joined us, and they gave me some feedback that they wanted me to convey to the organizers when I told them I'll have the president of the Kenya Editors Guild here.
Yes.
For them, they said, whereas it is interesting to see the personalities of the characters, and we saw that quite a bit, especially with the Igathe Sakaja debate, sometimes the issues get overlooked. When personalities clash. How will the organizers ensure that there is a healthy balance between understanding the personalities and what makes these men and women tick, but also that the issues that Kenyans are concerned about today really come out strongly in less than 90 minutes?
Usually a very, very tricky balance, very, very tricky balance, but it's a balance that editors wrestle with every single day. You know, putting together a news bulletin, putting together a newspaper, putting together a radio bulletin. Many times you have just a limited amount of space to put that in. So there are ways and methods that have been used over and over. I mean, there are people who come to the debate for the rhetoric, yeah, and you have to accept that in a political stage there will be some rhetoric. But we also insist that Kenya's time is premium time, and the substance must also be addressed. So there will be a fair balance of those two viewpoints, if you like.
That's a fair assurance.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Last week, we know the press lead for Kenya Kwanza stated that they are still discussing, they're still deliberating whether their candidate will appear in tomorrow's debate. That's Honorable Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes.
What level of engagement are you now at with all camps?
Yes.
Who has promised to be there? And where is it still unclear whether the candidate will show up?
We've engaged all camps, and that engagement didn't start yesterday. It started way back in February. And every step of the way, we've made it known to them what we are doing. We've had sessions with them where they've shared their expectations. The debates team has, to the level that is acceptable, taken on board what expectations that those might be. But at the end of the day, the editors who are running and basically guiding the content of the debate know that what we owe the candidates is a genuine and fair platform for them to share their ideas and to have those ideas tested. We know that some of the campaigns have had their surrogates making statements left or right, but we believe that at the end of the day, they do respect the voter and they do respect the voter's time. And we've enabled them in terms of making it known what time we expect them, how the infrastructure at the Catholic University of East Africa has been set to help them, make sure that the candidate is present and is present in a way that makes sense for everybody.
And maybe if I ask this in a more direct manner, what's your message to those who this morning are considering not showing up either tomorrow or next week?
It's just a question of how far they respect Kenyans. Tomorrow evening, there'll be no other conversation, but one of assessing who is best suited to be the second most powerful, important, and possibly person who is best suited to rise to the big office, should that ever come to be. So depending on how far they respect the Kenyan people and the voters, they should create time.
Okay, that's a strong call out there. What's the format like tomorrow? Does it follow the same format as last week? What can Kenyans expect?
The candidates will debate themselves with a very, very strong moderation from professional journalists to make sure that issues that Kenyans care about would surface. We've isolated 5 topics that will be on the table tomorrow. But we also, like I said before, no hints. No hints, okay. Yeah, we've also had a fairly robust stream of questions coming from the public. So there will be, creative ways in which those questions then are presented to the candidates tomorrow.
And then, obviously, Kenyans wait about another week or so for the presidential debate.
Then on the 26th, which is on Tuesday next week, we'll have the final debate, which is the presidential candidates coming to debate on the ideas and the platforms and the manifestos they presented.
I'm not sure how closely you were involved in the 2017 debates and the 2013 debates as well. How different would you say those were from the ones you're preparing for now? What lessons were learned from previous debates, whether locally or internationally as well, that now inform this one?
The one critical lesson that has come through is the need for a threshold. In 2013, 2017, it was a good to have, and I think in 2017 it even went to the courts. But we now see why mature democracies in nations where debates have a longer history, they tend to set a threshold where candidates must essentially attain, and if you don't attain, then you're put in a different tier. And the more critical thing is that in a democracy, the minority must have their say, but the majority must have their way. And because democracies work in majorities, then we must give those who have a realistic chance of getting into office an opportunity to explain and thoroughly interrogate what the issues are. Yeah, so it's not just, the debates are not being staged for entertainment value. It's a serious issue when somebody steps forward and offers themselves to lead Kenya or to get to any of those important offices. And that's the same seriousness that the media is approaching this assignment, so that we can then give these candidates a chance, away from all the rhetoric in the rallies and the noise that come with that on social media, so that they can, quietly, decently, in a fairly organized and reflective manner, tell Kenyans what is it that they stand for. Yeah, in a platform that they didn't organize themselves, a platform where some of those issues can be challenged, not challenged to bring them down, but challenged to improve and test their feasibility.
Some of the feedback that's coming in to you is, how do the organizers ensure that these debates aren't just a chance for candidates to campaign on national TV? How much, for example, rigorous fact-checking will go into the debate?
Oh, certainly. There are lots of fact-checking last week. And those who are keen have seen those in a variety of our news platforms. There will be lots of fact-checking tomorrow. Some of it will even present itself in the debate itself, but also shortly thereafter. But given where the news world is today, the one important duty or contribution that our newsrooms will and shall make is to fact-check the claims these leaders make on that platform.
So expect some strong fact-checking as we move forward.
Absolutely.
Let me read another question. How do the organizers ensure that the questions asked by the interviewees, or at least a majority of them, reflect public interest and not just a few of the views of those within the Secretariat?
The interviewees, there are no interviewees tomorrow. We only have moderators.
Yeah,
we only have moderators presenting the issues, and then the candidates taking position on that issues, which position are then informed by their manifestos, hopefully. Now, the topics that come on the table are not informed by the manifestos of these candidates. They are informed by the issues, the 5 most important issues affecting Kenya today. Yeah, so hopefully some of the candidates have given a chance, given these issues a chance, reflected on them, and therefore they are aware and have plans, solid plans that can withstand tests from the public, but also from the moderators. If they haven't, too bad. But then that's the whole point of a debate, isn't it?
Someone else is asking here, and it's a fair question. Is one debate, especially for the presidential candidates, the man, or at least, yeah, for now it's men, the 4 men, one of whom, could lead the country for the next 5 or 10 years, is one debate of 90 minutes sufficient time to fully understand what they stand for, even for the undecideds who vary anywhere between 10 to 15%, to make a decision?
Certainly not. Certainly not. In fact, if you think about it, not even a day would be enough. Yeah, there are way too many issues affecting way too many people. Most of them affecting livelihoods of people. But we are a growing democracy. We had hoped we could do 2 presidential debates.
Oh, there had been an initial, and I think I'd heard about that.
Yes. Mm-hmm. But when we looked at the time left between the day of gazettement and ideally we must finish these debates about 2 weeks before the election itself. When you look at that window, it proved logistically not possible. Yeah. So thankfully, we are now in engagement with the Electoral Commission. So I think the reality that debates are a part and parcel of our democracy will stay in the minds of the electoral managers, so that as they set the electoral calendar, they will of necessity then give us candidates maybe a little earlier, so that Kenyans get a chance to really and truly check who these people are offering to lead them.
We certainly hope the IEBC is listening, and that those that will be in the commission in the next election will be able to factor that into account. As we wind this conversation down, there is a temptation, and I've heard it from some, to tune in tomorrow to see who won and who lost. But as I listen to you more and more, it sounds like that's not what you're going for. Talk to us a little bit about what should really stand out as Kenyans sit down tomorrow and dedicate anywhere between 5 to 7 hours of their day to tune in.
Who won, who lost tends to be what everybody rushes to, but I think it's a little simplistic. Of course, when many people look at elections, they see a horse race. But we need to remember that no matter what the result is on August 9, at least 2 of the gentlemen in the presidential race will end up being in fairly influential positions to determine and shape where Kenya goes. It's important to see how they think, to see what positions they hold in certain critical questions, so that we look beyond who wins or doesn't win in the night and see what does each of these individuals offer in leadership going forward. One of them will be a president, for example. One of them will be a deputy president tomorrow. The other, as these things work, will end up leading the opposition or being a deputy leader of the opposition. In our constitution, those are critical roles that help our democracy mature. We must test all of them in terms of what they could possibly end up doing after August 9.
We certainly hope that's how Kenyans will be tuned in tomorrow. And speaking of tuning in tomorrow, what time can Kenyans tune in? On what platforms?
All media, be it television, radio, websites, main news websites. At 5:30 tomorrow, we'll be beaming this live, and it will run on with the first tier debate running up to 7 p.m. There'll be a break. Then we'll come back at 8 o'clock and run until about 9:30 for the second tier. And
I believe there'll be some pre-debate analysis.
Yes, absolutely. There'll be. We have a good team of panelists that will be moderated by Trevor Ombija tomorrow, starting from 5 o'clock. And then also after the debate at 9:30, they'll move on for about half an hour to 10 o'clock.
It's the must-watch event of the evening.
It's the only event tomorrow.
And I know Kenyans will be tuned in. Churchill Otieno, President, Kenya Editors Guild, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
And there you have it. Last week, Monday, you are all tuned in, I believe, for the gubernatorial Nairobi debate, the joint media one. And tomorrow it's all about the deputy presidential debate. 4 candidates have lined up for that, 3 women, 1 man. And all eyes will be on the Catholic University of Eastern Africa for that. Broadcast starts any time from 4 p.m., although I'm told analysis proper starts at 5 p.m. and the debate kicks off at 5:30 p.m. as well. First round of debate will go up until 7 p.m., a short break, and then from 7:30 p.m. it will be all systems go for the second debate up until 9 o'clock as well. So that's it. We take a short break now on the program, and those are some of the thoughts in regards to that. You are watching Daybreak. Stay with us. The program continues shortly.